Hot damn, it's another squat video. First of all, I just want to say I am pretty stoked about this video because I've got a very special guest on here. I don't know if I've actually had him on here, but Jan, my younger brother, but elder in certain degrees and wiser in certain degrees, is in this video. And the reason why that's a big deal is because he is the guy that actually really turned me on into all of this weight training, resistance training stuff. And I used to do some stupid shit in the backyard with like box bench presses. I just didn't want to touch the equipment that was in the house because that would actually mean that I was accepting defeat and I was actually training the real shit, and I wanted to look different. And I think kids do this all the time. They want to go off in their own little sandbox and do their own shit, but it's fucking stupid. Big shout out to Bruce Wayne over there, just staring. There's Jan right now jumping up, doing some pull-ups. We're just doing some warm-ups. I really like getting my shoulders warmed up, opening up my chest for pretty much everything. For benches and push days, I want to get them loosened up so I can get a fuller range of movement doing my benches and overhead presses if I do overhead presses. And then on like deadlift days and pull days, I want to get them to open up so that I can get my lats to contract further, because a little known thing called reciprocal inhibition, which is a fancy term for basically my chest and my traps won't let my lats and my rhomboids do as much work as they possibly can because they're stuck. And one set of muscles is pulling on another and not letting them work. So I want to open those up. So nothing too crazy here except squats, a bunch of squats, warming up. If you noticed earlier, I did do some single leg back step lunges. I give up on the fucking name of those things at this point. It's like single leg lunges or whatever the fuck, or step backs or kick backs. I don't give a fuck. Anyways, shout out to Orestes Papa Pertu, and there's Marshall over there in the background. Orestes, if I fucked up your name, I'm sorry. Your Greek last name is a little bit tricky to pronounce. There's Marshall in the back. There's Orestes right now, looking awesome. Anyways, looks like Marshall's doing some bodybuilding. Marshall's pretty strong. He does a lot of Olympic weightlifting, and I talked to him once and he said that he's just doing it just to do it. And that's pretty badass, because he's not really doing it to compete or anything. And there's Orestes just being Orestes and being a badass as well, being an overall amazing athlete. So I like to warm up with front squats a lot of times. So here I am at 135 plus I think 20 pounds, so about 155. I like warming up with front squats because it gets the anterior chain going, it gets the core engaged. I fucking hate that word. It gets the quads engaged. And lately I've been noticing a lot of pain in my right quad, really high up in the hip. And I'm thinking that maybe because my quads are so overdeveloped on the right that it's pulling on the attachments really high up on that limb, so I gotta be careful. So if you notice, I've got the generic voodoo floss wrapped around my leg. Not quite a voodoo floss, but it gets the job done. And now I'm doing 225 in front squat for a few reps. I think this is gonna be my working, these are gonna be my working weights in front squat. Pretty stoked watching this video actually, because my elbows are a lot higher and my form's getting a lot better. And just, that is my biggest goal, is to do about 2 times or 2.5 times body weight front squat, something around like 500 pounds. And so in order to do that, I gotta obviously train that weak movement. But this whole hip thing is bothering the fuck out of me, and a whole slew of other things. But I'll be switching over to back squats here in a second. And most of this is just getting in the volume. Another thing you might notice is if you look at my right ankle, it tends to kind of, well, my toe actually shoots out, and I think I got some tightness in that ankle, which may be restricting some of my movements as well. So it's probably, it's really tearing into that hip, and I probably have to work on some ankle mobility as well. Don't want to get deep in that position. a lot of the stuff that I do are kind of hybrids of like stuff that I learned from Olympic weightlifting, and I'm marrying it with stuff in powerlifting because I like to translate movements and scale them so that it applies to daily life. Now I can turn my feet out a little bit wider and I could bring my legs out a little bit wider, but what does that mean when it comes to walking around day to day? That means you're gonna have a goofy looking walk, and it doesn't apply to things like running and sprinting and walking, because walking you have your feet a little bit closer. Honestly, looking at this now, my feet are even a little bit wide, and I've kind of lost a lot of that depth that you'll see that Jan is doing. And it's pretty intense that Jan is actually doing this workout later in the day, because at this point he had been doing Wendler, and this is kind of his second time working out for the day. Here's just a change in the angle so you can see the side. If you're, I think we switch over to Jan here in a second, and you can really see that he's got a lot better depth. I've lost a lot of that because I've developed my hamstrings and my posterior chain to the point where I'm kind of losing some of that range, and I gotta work to regain some of that so I really pride myself on getting my ass down to the bottom of the squat, if not lower, and just retaining a lot of that range of movement over time is critical, just as far as like training age and just living goes, in terms of like physical health, really. I don't know, try not to get too rambly here, but here's 260, let me see, 25, 265 on the bar now. Not that pretty, to be honest. I've gotten up there before, but this is probably my weakest link, and so I've had to play around with other like squat variations later on down the road. Is that a wristy staring at us? He's totally creeping. It's hard not to in this gym. You tend to do that. But okay, so there's some dude passing by, saying excuse me. So you guys at Barbell, don't worry if you happen to walk in the field of view of the camera, just don't block it. I really don't give a fuck, just walk on by, I don't care. I don't want to be the guy that's like, excuse me, you're blocking the camera, you're walking by. I'm not shooting like a Hollywood style movie, so it's not that big of a deal. Just walk on by, we're all sharing the same space, that's cool. Here's a 225 on my back for a pause. Just playing with different variations in the squat, and just getting used to not being able to bounce out of that bottom position. So Jan, I think this is 225. I think those are 35s on the ends there. They look about, so this should be about 225. Come on guys, 295. 295, close to 300 pounds. And like I said, this is a bit rough on him. This would be a little bit rough because he'd been doing Wendler for a bit, and he had just done Wendler at like 6 or 7 in the morning, and this is later on in the day. I want to say 5 or 6 in the afternoon. So he's muscling through, but he does have to kind of catch up to me on a lot of the lifts because, well, except for benches, because I have blown way past him in the deadlifts and in the squats, and yeah. Here we are doing benches with his, which is his strength and the thing that I need to work on most. So this has been something I've had to struggle with. If you notice here, as it comes down to the bottom, my triceps are a little bit extended, so, and that's something I've been trying to work on. Yogi Steve did point that out not too long ago, about bringing my arms out a little bit wider and all that. There's Marshall in the back once again. And you can see Sarah in the back office, and I think that's Nadim getting massage. And there's Lizzie in the back as well. Just a lot of really strong people in the back. I think there's someone shaking their ass over in the corner. I can't tell. And I think over there would be the slingshots on his arms is Mas Cervantes. I apologize if that's not your name. I know people have real names, but I spend so much time on Instagram, and I think we all get to know each other on Instagram that we forget that we have actual names, and we never bother with asking. So yeah, apologies to that. Anyways, just working on some more bench stuff. This is, I believe, 135, 155 for a double or a triple. I can't remember. Let's just watch. Here we go. Is it double? Is it triple? I'm taking a lot of time just getting set up. And that's actually one of my faults, and I need to get adjusted to that. I need to fucking go into it. And I think that's what Jan tells me. He's like, you're taking too long at the top. You just need to do it. I was actually about 10 pounds heavier here too, so this was a lot easier. And at the time that I'm voicing this over, I've got a little more weight on me, so it's a little bit harder. Peace out, guys. Later.